In the shadows of American history lurk women who shattered the illusion of innocence, turning trust into terror and care into carnage. Welcome to the 5 most dangerous women serial killers in the USA, where we uncover the chilling tales of 5 female predators whose crimes defied stereotypes and left a trail of devastation. From black widows to killer nurses, these stories reveal the dark side of deception and death. Let's dive in. Dorothea Puente born.
Grandmotherly landlady is the prime suspect as Sacramento police begin the gruesome task, digging up the side yard of an apartment house.
Police digging in the front and backyards of the boarding house have now found 7 victims, and they fear that more bodies will be located as the digging continues.
Dorothea Puente was questioned Friday after the first body was found, but later released.
Are there any other bodies?
I haven't killed anyone. My conscience is not bothering me, but I have nothing to hide. I'm an old lady. I couldn't drag a body anyplace.
She looked like the woman next door or anybody's grandmother. She definitely didn't look like a serial killer.
Born Dorothea Helen Gray on January 9th, 1929, in Redlands, California, Dorothea Puente's early life was steeped in hardship. One of 7 children, she lost her father to tuberculosis at age 8 and her mother to a car accident a year later. Shuffled between orphanages and relatives, Dorothea endured abuse and neglect, dropping out of school at 16. By her teens, she turned to petty crime, forging checks, prostitution, to survive. At 17, she married Fred McFall, a soldier. Bearing 2 daughters, she gave up for adoption. The marriage collapsed by 1948, launching a pattern of failed unions and fraud. Dorothea's charm, petite, well-dressed, with a warm smile, masked a growing knack for deception. Dorothea's life became a carousel of marriages and scams. She married Axel Johansson in 1952, divorcing after 14 years of her arrests for vagrancy and running a brothel. In 1968, she wed Roberto Puente, a younger man in Mexico, but their volatile union ended by 1969. She adopted his surname, crafting a persona as a caring nurse or social worker despite no formal training. By the 1970s, Dorothea ran boarding houses in Sacramento, taking in elderly, disabled, or transient tenants, those society overlooked. Her 16-room Victorian at 1426 F Street became a haven for the vulnerable, offering home-cooked meals and a grandmotherly smile. But beneath the hospitality lurked a deadly scheme. By 1982, Dorothea's boarding house was a revolving door for society's cast-offs, alcoholics, mentally ill, or elderly on Social Security. She pocketed their checks, giving them small allowances while promising care. But tenants began disappearing. In 1982, Ruth Monroe, a 61-year-old friend who moved in, died suddenly after flu-like symptoms. Dorothea claimed suicide. No autopsy was performed. She kept cashing Monroe's checks. Neighbors noticed Dorothea's handyman, Ismael Flores, digging in the backyard, allegedly for landscaping. In truth, he was burying bodies under her direction, unaware of their contents. Dorothea's weapon of choice was Dalmane, a sedative she obtained through forged prescriptions mixed into meals or drinks, causing overdoses that mimicked heart failure or illness. Between 1982 and 1988, Dorothea killed at least 9 tenants, possibly more, targeting those with no family to notice their absence. Yvonne Green, 78, died in 1985 after moving in. Her Social Security checks kept arriving. James Gallup, 62, vanished in 1986. His benefits funded Dorothea's lifestyle. Leona Carpenter, 80, and Bert Montoya, a mentally disabled man, followed, their bodies buried in the backyard. Dorothea forged signatures, cashing over $60,000 in checks while living lavishly. New clothes, perfume, even plastic surgery to maintain her youthful facade. She hired ex-convicts as handymen, paying them to dig trash pits that hid her crimes. Neighbors saw her gardening at odd hours, but her charm deflected suspicion. In 1987, social worker Peggy Nickerson grew wary when Bert Montoya vanished. Dorothea claimed he'd returned to Mexico, but his caseworker pressed police. On November 7, 1988, officers visited 1426 F Street, finding Dorothea cooperative, her home spotless. But a tip from a tenant who'd seen strange digging led to a search warrant. On November 11th, police dug up the backyard, unearthing 7 bodies wrapped in plastic and blankets, some doused with lime to mask decay. Dorothea, unfazed, sipped tea as cops questioned her, claiming ignorance. Then she fled, a suitcase packed with cash. Dorothea Puente, the kindly landlady, had turned her boarding house into a graveyard. As police uncovered her victims, Sacramento reeled. The death house landlady was on the run, but her reign of poison and greed was crumbling. The nation awaited her capture and her story. On November 17, 1988, Dorothea Puente's flight ended at a seedy Los Angeles motel. A tipster recognized her from TV broadcasts, alerting police. She'd approached him, posing as a kindly retiree, offering to cook dinner, a chilling echo of her deadly hospitality. Arrested without resistance, Dorothea maintained her innocence, claiming the bodies in her yard were from natural causes or suicides. Back in Sacramento, the excavation continued. 7 confirmed victims: Alvaro Bert Montoya, Leona Carpenter, Dorothy Miller, Benjamin Fink, James Gallup, Vera Martin, and Betty Palmer, plus 2 others linked to her, including Ruth Monroe. Autopsies revealed lethal levels of Dalmane, a sedative Dorothea stockpiled, mixed with alcohol or food to induce fatal overdoses. Her backyard was a mass grave, her home a crime scene. Dorothea's trial began in February 1993 in Monterey, California, moved due to media frenzy. Charged with 9 murders, she faced a jury stunned by her grandmotherly demeanor, white hair, soft voice, tailored dresses. Prosecutors detailed her scheme, targeting elderly or disabled tenants, drugging them with Dalmane, and cashing their Social Security checks, totaling over $5,000 monthly. She buried bodies to avoid suspicion, using lime and dirt to hide decay. Her defense argued the deaths were natural, with no direct proof Dorothea administered the drugs. But testimony from surviving tenants and handyman Ismael Flores, who admitted digging graves unknowingly, painted a damning picture. Dorothea's calm denials, calling herself a good person, only deepened the jury's unease. On August 26, 1993, after months of testimony, Dorothea was convicted of 3 first-degree murders, Montoya, Miller, and Fink, due to conclusive toxicology. The jury deadlocked on 6 others, but 3 convictions brought life without parole. At 64, she was sent to Chowchilla's Central California Women's Facility. Unlike Aileen Wuornos' fiery defiance or Nanny Doss's eerie giggles, Dorothea remained composed, insisting she never killed nobody. Yet evidence suggested up to 15 victims, her crimes spanning 6 years, exploiting society's most vulnerable for profit. Dorothea's story gripped the nation. Dubbed the Death House Landlady, she became a true crime icon, featured in documentaries like Crime Stories, 2000, and Investigation Discovery's Killer Psyche, 2022. Dorothea's denials fueled fascination. Her case exposed gaps in social services, how easily tenants' deaths went unquestioned, prompting reforms in California's boarding house oversight. On March 27, 2011, Dorothea Puente died at 82 of natural causes in prison. Her 9 confirmed kills, possibly more, marked her as one of America's deadliest women. Her Victorian house at 1426 F Street, now a grim landmark, draws true crime tourists. Her method, poisoning the elderly for profit, set her apart from Aileen Wuornos' violent spree or Nanny Doss's domestic betrayals. Dorothea exploited trust, turning care into a death trap. Dorothea Puente redefined the serial killer archetype. Her victims, society's forgotten, died in the heart of her safe haven. FBI profiles highlight her sociopathic cunning, using her nurturing image to prey on trust. Her case, spanning 1982 to 1988, exposed the vulnerability of the elderly and disabled, resonating in 2025 as elder abuse awareness grows. YouTube analytics show her story driving 8% of true crime traffic, fueled by its chilling premise: a landlady who buried her tenants. Dorothea wasn't just a killer, she was a predator cloaked in kindness, her legacy a warning of betrayal behind a smile. Subscribe to True Crime Drop for more unfiltered true crime drops